Hey guys, this is Jenna with Hill Valley Farm, and I know typically we talk about dairy goats on this page or on this channel. However, today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about our new kitten that we invited to the farm back in May because she is a true asset to this farm. And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how we got her acclimated and how we also went about getting her. So let's get started. Last fall, I started noticing that we had a mouse or two in our house. That was a tail. That was Willow. A mouse or two in our house, and we haven't had mice very much in our house since living here, mainly because Trixie, she typically has always taken care of our mouse population here on the farm, whether it be at the house, the barn, wherever. And so it was odd to see a mouse. Should have thought a little bit more about that, because in the spring, whenever we started kitting out, Kaden and I would be in a kitting pen with a doe in labor and see a mouse or two running around. It was very unnerving. We also, I think it was Sky, she was laying down to start pushing, and a mouse ran out from under her. So, needless to say, I knew I needed to just go ahead and get another barn cat, because Trixie was clearly entering retirement. Trixie is, as of this year, 15 years old. And so she's old, for a cat. She has had an amazing life. She's still here with us, obviously. She's trying to live out her best retirement. She is a calico. We got her when we lived in a neighborhood setting in Ottawa, Tennessee. And she ended up being the best mouser that anyone could ever ask for. So, not to take anything away from Trixie, she has been phenomenal. She's been on this farm since 2016, and so she's done her job. But now it was time to bring someone else in. Now, being a calico, Trixie has never liked any other animal, ever. She doesn't like other cats, other dogs. She cannot stand the goats, and the goats actually don't like her. It's very strange. Some people have cats that will sleep with their goats. I don't have that situation here. They just hate each other. So I knew it was going to be really hard to bring something in, because I know when we have something coming in the barn that's not supposed to be here, like a raccoon or a possum, things like of that nature. I know when I need to set a live trap, because Trixie will meet me out in the barnyard, or she won't be in the barn, period. She just won't hang out where there's something else lurking around. So I knew this was going to be hard. Now, back up a little bit. I would like to say that I tried rescues and I tried the animal shelters, and none of them would even talk to me because I mentioned her living in the barn. Now, here's the thing. I'm obviously wearing a jacket. It has gotten quite chilly here in East Tennessee lately. And so now we're embarking on the season when the cat, Trixie, wants to come in at night, and she does. So she comes in and she sleeps in the garage. She has like her own bed inside this box with a heated pad that we have, and it's a time on a timer, and so it keeps heated. It stays heated for her the entire time she's in the garage, and then it kicks off. She has an amazing setup, and then in the mornings she gets to come out and prowl around all day, which they love to do. And so it really is the best of both worlds. She actually came in the garage at night, even when we lived in the neighborhood. That's just what she did. So I knew that's what we wanted to do here with the new kitten. And so I tried to explain, it would be indoor, outdoor. Her sole purpose, will be in our barn because we have mice and I need to keep the mouse population down, and rat, and no one would talk to me because she wasn't going to be a full-time indoor cat. That actually makes me very sad that a rescue would not consider talking to a farmer. I get that in a perfect world, everyone wants their animals inside and, no threats at all. But in the real world where we are, an animal needs to be able to live. And I don't know if you've ever seen a cat in a barn, but if you haven't, a barn is basically the perfect playground for a cat. They want to climb on the hay. They want to sleep in the hay. I can show you a perfect example on the very top right there. Right there, that's Trixie. So she's watching me do this video while she's on the hay. So they love to sleep on the hay. They love to get in these little crevices of the hay. They climb above me on the rafters and walk across. They always have. I grew up with barn cats in this same barn. They did the same thing then. And so this is a perfect playground. And they get to hunt. And that is what a cat wants to do. So I want to put a little public service announcement out there for anyone that might have a barn that wants to, have a cat. Listen, they will not talk to you at a rescue if you're not a full-time indoor, if you're not going to plan for the cat to be a full-time indoor cat. That's just really sad to me. So I had to find Willow, that's her name, on our own. I had somehow come across something on Facebook and I think it was my sister-in-law that shared it with me, that a lady had advertised having some kittens and she needed to find homes for them. And so I contacted the lady. Well, clearly they were just born, so they were not ready. That was fine. This was March and we were hot and heavy into kidding season. But I ended up at the end of May being able to actually meet the lady and pick up Willow, the kitten. She was very small, much like Trixie was when we got her. So she had to stay in the house for a while. And by a while, I mean through mid-July. So from the end of May through the end of July, mid to end, she was in the house because we were having, we wanted to get her shots and we wanted her to be fully vaccinated before coming out because we are very, very mindful and responsible owners. So we wanted her to be safe. When we did bring her out, we had a whole cat condominium for her. She got to kind of hang out inside that for a while and get acclimated. Okay, this is the barn. These are the noises in the barn. Those are goats. Not that she knows, but she could see them. They could see her. Then what we did, we put her in our kid area and closed the doors. That way she could be out free in the barn, but not have access to everywhere of the barn or outside of the barn. Plus, I still had to get her spayed. So we got her spayed at the beginning of September. So we went from mid-July to the beginning of September with her just being in the kid area. And she had a litter box, she had her toys. She actually, the kids would stay the night in there. So she still got to be with the goats and she even got down with them. So they were not super excited about her, but they tolerated her. So that was cool. So we got her spayed, and of course then she had to recoup in the house again. So she was in the house for another week and a half and to fully heal, because I didn't want her in the barn, when she had her stitches or an open wound. That would not be good at all. And so then which there were no open wounds, it was just an incision, very small incision. My vet did a really good job. So after that, she came out here, and she has been out here ever since. So since then, we have just let her basically have the run of the barn. We do live next to a main highway, and fortunately, she's not interested at all in up there. She likes it here. In fact, again, I want to point out, that's her. She's sleeping on the hay. She looks pretty happy to me, and she loves it out here. So she's not really interested in leaving the barn or really the field. She goes up with me. She's so friendly, super sweet. She goes with me to the buck field, to the buckling field, to the coop, and then back to the barn. She has been catching mice. And I know that because Trixie always eats hers. I've never had to see, anything that Trixie did until now with Willow. Willow is a kitten, so they don't typically eat their prizes, and so she's been leaving them for me right where I walk, so I see them, and I really appreciate that. But I would appreciate it more if she would just eat them and I wouldn't have to see them. But I do want to kind of highlight, so Trixie stopped really hunting the mice. We started seeing mice in our home, but then also lots in the barn. And then late spring, when kidding was done and we were milking, I started having rat snakes in here, in the barn, in the milk room, here, right where I am. And hey, I love rat snakes. I think they're great. They're beautiful. They are very beneficial. I just don't want them in my milk room. So if we don't have a cat in the barn to catch the mice and rats, then I get to have some rat snakes come around and do that for me, which I appreciate them. But if I continue to have snakes here, we also have a chicken coop right over there with eggs and baby chicks and all the things in the spring. And so that's not something I want to be here regularly. So that's why a barn cat is so beneficial. I can't even stand the idea of mice running along my countertops. I'm sure they do, but I actually never see any traces of them, and they will leave traces if they're there. So fortunately, I've not ever had mouse droppings on my countertop here, because that's where, I have all my things. When it's milking time, I keep it very clean. I'm very careful about that. You have to be. You're handling, milk. And so we're just so grateful that we have a barn cat now that can carry on and do what she needs to do. Her and Trixie, it's been rocky. I'm not going to say Trixie has been friendly. She has hissed and growled and carried on very much. Trixie's actually kind of stressed. She's she's cleaned herself too much on her back and she's got a bald spot. But I will say in the last couple weeks, they've been sitting on the counter together, eating out of their separate bowls at the same time. That is amazing because that is worlds better than what we've had. And so, I want to show you. Up there is Trixie. She's just walking. She was walking around. I mean, again, this is a cat's amazing playground. I mean, all the hay, and I mean, all the beams, and then you can see behind me the other hay where she was. And I can't stress enough that the only thing that the rescues would talk to me about is me talking to places that I could get feral cats. Well, I'm not going to bring a feral cat in here. Number one, it'll just fight and probably hurt my existing cat. And I'm not interested in that yeah, you feed them here, but they're feral. I can't imagine that they're going to want to hang out very much because we are in the barn a lot. And so I wasn't interested in a feral cat. Mainly because we do have a relationship with them. They're super sweet. We love to pet them and love on them and feed them and, and take care of them. We want them to come in at night. We do have coyotes. And fortunately, that's another thing. Trixie hates dogs. And so Trixie was actually the last cat standing on our street in Ottawa, because all the other neighborhood cats disappeared because of coyotes. But Trixie never did, because she absolutely hates dogs and just completely stayed away from anything dog related. And so At least that's why we think she's alive. So it's great that she hates those things. But yes, and so the goats are so used to Trixie running from them. Willow doesn't run. No. And so they're really freaked out by Willow. They think that they can like kind of run at her and I mean they've butted her and everything. But she doesn't run. So they don't really know what to do with that. So they've kind of stopped doing that. They'll kind of run at her, but they won't really get close to her because they don't really trust the fact that she doesn't run away from them. And so that's been another thing that we've had to get used to. But it's gone really well. So thank you to Willow, and we're so happy to have her. So happy that the owner of her, I told her, I was very honest and open, what her job will be, what we expect, this is what we need, and she loved it. So, very happy about that. My vet fully supports it. She was very, very great about talking to me about, we ended up spaying her like a month early. She did great. And so the dogs actually did really well with her too, being in the house. So, we couldn't have asked for a better scenario. Was it a lot of work? Yes. It was, a lot of work, a lot of thought, being careful on introductions. We would bring her, even when she was still in the house, we would bring her out here with us at night when we would do chores so Trixie could see her. And so we tried to do all the things that we knew to do. But so I hope that this helps you. If you need a barn cat, I hope that somehow this helps you, be able to think about the things that you need to do or just be mindful of. And like I said, I know we always talk about dairy goats, but having a barn cat, they do have a job and they have a specific function, and we are grateful to have them. So we will just enjoy Trixie in her retirement. Here she is on the counter, won't we, Trixie? And we will enjoy Willow, who is snoozing still in the hay, doing her job, and we are so grateful for it. If you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing and give us a thumbs up. It helps us more than you know. Until we see you guys again, I hope you have an awesome goat field day.